Welcome to another episode of the Caribbean Edge Kids. We're so excited that you could join us for story time on this beautiful Sunday. My name is Dawn Wilson, and of course we have Aunty Sophie, who has a special book ready for us. But we also have joining us Aryana. Thank you for joining us, Aryana.
Thank you for having me.
And we also have Somiya joining us today. Thank you. And both ladies have a special treat in store for us today. So we're going to start today's program with Aryana. Aryana, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm 15 and I go to Archer High School. I like to paint and read, and I also like to play volleyball.
And where are your parents from?
Both my parents are from Jamaica.
Okay, awesome. I love volleyball. In fact, I played this morning and I might be playing again this evening. My daughter played as well. So volleyball is an awesome sport. So congratulations. Hopefully you're a great volleyball player. Lots of scholarships out there for you with that as well. So welcome to the Caribbean Edge Kids, where you're going to inspire and motivate others just like you today. And Somiya, welcome. How old are you? And tell us about you.
I'm 15 years old and I go to Etowah High School. I run track and I really enjoy painting. Yes.
Ah. And where are your parents from?
My dad is from Jamaica and my mother's family is from Trinidad.
Oh, so lots of cultural experiences in your household, right? And you also have a special treat for us today.
I do. I actually do, yes.
Well, welcome. All right, Aryana, just kick us off with whatever you're reading for us today.
Okay, so I'm going to read this book. It's called Popcorn by Frank Ash. My mom used to read this to me when I was younger, and she's no longer with us, but I still have this book. So take good care of the house and we'll bring you a present. One fall night, Mama and Papa Bear went to a Halloween party and left Sam home alone. So he called up his friends and invited them to his house for his own Halloween party. While he waited for his friends to arrive, he made himself a costume. Wear a costume and bring something good to eat. The first to arrive was Betty. I brought some popcorn for the party, she said. The second to arrive was Billy. He brought popcorn too. Bernie, Bonnie, and Buster also brought popcorn. In fact, everyone brought popcorn. The party was lots of fun. When Betty said, "Hey, let's pop all the popcorn," everyone thought it was a good idea. With some help from his friends, Sam lifted Mama Bear's great big kettle onto the kitchen stove and poured in all the popcorn. He added some oil and salt and turned on the stove. Soon it began to pop, 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 pop. There was so much popcorn, it quickly filled the kettle and spilled out onto the floor. There was so much popcorn, it filled the whole kitchen. It spilled out into the living room. It filled all the rooms downstairs and crept upstairs. There was so much popcorn, it filled the whole house. What happened? Help! Who turned out the lights? Where did everyone go? Some party. Get me out of here. Everyone wanted to go home, but Sam said, "No, you've got to stay and help me get rid of all this popcorn, or I'll be in big trouble." Munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, go. They ate and ate and ate and ate and ate and ate. And ate and ate and ate and ate until all the popcorn was gone. I don't care if I ever see another piece of popcorn in my whole life, said Buster. I feel like my stomach is going to burst, said Betty. Mine too, said Bobby. Sam felt the sickest of all. He said good night to his friends and cleaned up and went to bed. Later that night, Mama and Papa Bear came home. Wake up, they said. We brought you a present. What is it? Asked Sam. Popcorn, they replied. And
For that, I don't know anyone who doesn't love popcorn, but after a while, and I'm so happy. Thanks for reading that book. And I know you mentioned your mom, so I know that book is very special to you, that you remember her reading that to you. But a beautiful book that kids can relate to about popcorn. Aunty Sophie, that was delightful, right?
Yes, I like that.
All right, so let's switch over to Somiya and see what book she has in store for us today.
Okay, so I have a book called No Mirrors in My Nana's House by Yasay and Barnell. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. So the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything was in her eyes, like the rising of the sun. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. So I never knew that my skin was too black. I never knew that my nose was too flat. I knew that my clothes didn't fit. I never knew that my clothes didn't fit. I never knew that there were things that I missed. Because the beauty in everything was in her eyes, like the rising of the sun. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. I was intrigued by the cracks in the wall. I tasted with joy the dust that would fall. The noise in the hallway was music to me. The trash and the rubbish just cushioned my feet. And the beauty in everything was in her eyes, like the rising of the sun was in her eyes. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. The world outside was a magical place. I only knew love and I never knew hate, and the beauty in everything was in her eyes, like the rising of the sun. Child, look deep into my eyes. Look deep into my eyes, look deep into my eyes.
Oh, the
Thank
end.
you. Aunty Sophie, what a touching book.
I am floored. Go ahead, Auntie Dawn.
So Somiya, tell us what that book means to you, because that was such a beautiful book as well.
The book kind of means to me that because there's no mirrors, right? It's just all the negativity and flaws that you may think are being reflected. You can't see them because the lack of mirrors in the house. It keeps or if it were me, it'd keep me away from seeing anything that would be looked at as an imperfection or hatred. All of that would be absent because through her Nana's eyes, all I could see was just love and beauty.
Well said. And that's what I got from that book too. It's all about the beauty, not the external that people like to critique. You couldn't see that. So very strong message in that book for us all as far as looking at ourselves internally. I love both your stories and the meaning behind your books. So thank you so much for selecting those books and to sharing it with the world as well. Very meaningful. You're both artists. So Aryana, you have some art that you've been doing that you want to show us today?
Yeah, so I actually recently started painting. I haven't been painting for very long. So I only really do cartoon characters right now. So some of my most recent and favorite ones. This is one of them.
Awesome.
It's from a show I watch.
You did that?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And you just started. Wow.
And then another one that I have is this one. And this
Very
is
nice.
from another show that I watch. So yeah, these are some of my recent favorite ones. But in the future, I plan to start doing more than just cartoons.
Oh, you just took me back to when I was a little girl and I used to do art and put them all over the wall in my grandma's house. Those are beautiful and you're doing well. I can't wait to see what you're doing in the future. So we will certainly have to keep up with you, young lady. And what do you inspire to be when you get older?
Well, I've been looking into engineering because honestly, I'm a math person.
I think she's muted.
She's not muted, but we lost your volume. Okay, so I know you said you're a math person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we lost you for a minute. Let's switch over to Somiya. Somiya, let's see your artwork as well.
Okay, so I have paintings from when I was younger. I'll get up and show you. So this painting, I did it when I was a bit younger, about 10, 6, around that age, right? This painting as well, this dog painting, this painting as well. And then these paintings over here, right? These paintings, this one, these two right here, these two. These are the more recent paintings that I think. This is kind of my version of a Bratz doll, if you can see.
Yeah.
And this one, you can see her headscarf, detailed headscarf. And then for this one, the clouds, this was the first one I drew when I turned 14. And I've always liked the sky. So I kind of wanted to make it colorful and do it this way. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. I especially love the ones with the women in it. I love them. You're doing fabulous work as well. Are you posting them anywhere? Are you doing anything with them, or this is just your personal collection at this time?
Right now it's just my personal collection, yes. But I think I wanna do more paintings and then maybe put it out there and yeah, maybe make something with it, yes.
Okay. So do either of you speak any Patois? Speak like Jamaicans or understand it?
I can understand it, but no, I don't
speaking isn't, yeah.
So we're going to have fun with you today. So we're going to learn a little Patois for a little bit, and then we're going to move into story time with Aunty Sophie as she takes us back and shares some culture and heritage with us. But I'm going to give you a popular Jamaican saying, especially when you're getting into a taxi. And in the islands, the taxis are crowded and you can't imagine the amount of people they put in one taxi. So whenever someone's getting in, let's say there are 5 people already in the back seat and a 6th person is coming in, we say, small up yourself. That just means you need to squish together. So let's hear it. Can you guys, well, let's start with Somiya. Small up yourself.
Small up yourself.
Yeah. How about you, Aryana?
Small up yourself.
See that? Or not Jamaican already. Small up yourself. But you say it with some oomph and attitude and you got it. So we always say it with some energy when we say small up yourself. All right. What's another one? All of a sudden. Aunty Sophie, all of a sudden. Tell me, put that in one sentence.
All of a sudden, the picnic start ball. That's a lot of patois right there. I'm sorry. All of a sudden. You got the all of a sudden, all of a sudden. What do you think that means, Somiya?
Kind of like in an instant, it just happened.
Yeah. Right, Aryana? You would have gotten that too.
Yeah, it's itself, basically.
It almost is, yes. And that's what it is. A lot of the patois terms are almost self-explanatory, very expressive. And you may hear one English word that you recognize and you kind of figure, you heard the word sudden, didn't you? Sudden. So, and here's what we realize. Most children who are from Jamaican parents, they tend to, over years, they tend to know what it is the parents are saying. To be able to repeat it or articulate it is a little difficult, but I believe every Jamaican household here in the United States, if mommy and daddy speaks any kind of Jamaican, the children will pick up what it is because your ears get used to hearing the tones and you kind of start relating to what it is mommy and daddy is saying, correct? So I'm sure you won't get lost if I take you to Jamaica. You'll know if you're in a shared cab and them says, small up yourself, man. You know, immediately you start making yourself tiny so you can get more space. Isn't that correct? So that's what it is. It's not very difficult. And Auntie Dawn, I'm sure she would have explained, Patwa is a mixture of different languages from over the years, the various influences we've had in the island, from this English. We even have a few Spanish words because I guess you learn in history that we had Spaniards in our island too, years ago, correct? So all that infusion of the different people from different parts of the world brings this melting pot, and we have this language that we developed to communicate amongst ourselves, and we call it Patwa.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So another thing we say is wam. Wam. Anyone knows what that means? Wam. Somiya knows.
What's going on?
What's going on? See, so your parents must be speaking some of this Jamaican language at home, right? Especially when they get upset, right? It comes up.
Family, yes.
Oh yeah. We certainly relate to that because that's when it comes up for me and Aunty Sophie, right? You just automatically go into your language of comfort, and it's our dialect. So yes, thank you for having fun with us about Patwa because we're sharing that with the world. As you guys are from a Caribbean background, can relate and understand, but there are other people watching that have no idea. So that's why we're doing this, so people can understand and have fun and appreciate the beautiful Jamaican language. So Aunty Sophie, go on and take me away with a Anacy story, and that me think you do today.
You hear all of that Patwa she's saying? She's literally introducing me and asking me to go ahead with my Anacy story. All of that. See? But before I do that, Auntie,
what she was saying.
You got it. See? You get it. So before I do that though, Auntie Dawn, I really want to take this quick minute to congratulate both ladies. As I said, I'm floored. I was listening. I liked your book to Aryana about the popcorn. Is saying the kids all popped the corn till it was full popcorn, full up in the house, and then eat till them belly warm bust. So after all that, and the parents come with a popcorn again, it's like, oh my goodness, I don't want to see popcorn again for the rest of my life. So that was a fun story. And of course, it touched my heart when you said your mom used to read that to you. And this is what I paused to do this, to encourage parents, read to your children, make memories, because believe me, that is a great bonding moment. And you have this to hold on to, that this is the moment my mommy spent with me, because reading together is a very intimate process. You have to sit close. Mommy hold the book. She has to show you the pages. It's a great bonding moment. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us, and thank you so much. That was a fun story. And Miss Somiya, your story, I couldn't speak after you read it because it was so deep. It had so many profound messages. It was very, very deep. And again, my advocating for parents and children is that you parents are the window to which the children look through, your eyes. See, she saw the world through her parents' eyes, her mother's eyes. If you light up your eyes, parents, the children will see the light. If you're seeing dull and darkness, they'll see it. So what your story was, the child saw the world through her mother's eyes. And whatever it is that we're depicting as parents, we are forming the impressions for our children. So it's very important. And I also wanted to point out, have you point out to me the painting you did with the woman without the eyes. That was kind of deep. You and I will probably talk about that another time. I'd probably invite you to do a deep interview with you as to how you came up with some of the subjects you choose to paint. That is a whole different level right there. And Miss Aryana, just watching the programs and capturing the image in your head and then painting it, this is brilliant. You guys are talented beyond measures. And kudos to you, and we appreciate you, okay? Thank you, thank you. All right, so quick to my Anacy story now. I mentioned it in the green room that Anacy is a folklore character from the Caribbean. And of course, here's where he came from. Anacy stories originated in West Africa. They were brought to Jamaica and other parts of the New World by Ashanti slaves and were handed down orally through generations. Anacy exists as a spider, a man, or a combination of the two. Now, you will notice if you've listened before our different shows that Anacy is no goody two-shoes. He's sometimes not revered as a hero. He is often called greedy, lazy, inventive trickster, cunning, and smart to the extreme. But Anacy loves a good joke, and when he's not sleeping or eating, he's always up to something. So that gives you the background of the character I'm going to read about, okay? That's Anacy for you. So this story is entitled Kwaku Anacy and the Gum Statue. Let's see what happens with this. Once upon a time, there lived in a small village a man called Kwaku Anacy. He lived with his wife, Cornell, and their son, Tikuma. There was famine in the village, so Anacy and his family decided to make a big farm. They worked all day without rest. However, Anacy did not work as much as his wife and son. We talked about that. Remember, we said he was sometimes lazy, right? He often complained of being ill and stayed home to smoke his pipe and to sleep. One day, Anacy went to the farm and saw how beautifully everything had grown. These vegetables, corn, yam, and fruits are all ripe, he said to himself. At that very moment, he thought of a secret plan. Anacy went home singing an old festival song. He called his wife and his son to his bedroom, and he said to them, I, Kwaku Anacy, will not live forever. One day, I will die. And when that happens, I want you to promise to do what I'm going to tell you. He went on, when I die, bury me in the center of our farm. Put the following in my coffin: a pot, a spoon, a knife, a ladle, a box of matches, some charcoal and kerosene, and add some salt, dried fish, and palm oil. He lit his pipe and continued, my last wish is that after you have put my coffin in the earth, do not cover it with sand, but with leaves and flat wood. Do not forget to let me go away with my pipe. He breathed deeply. These things which I'm asking you to do for me will help me find my way to heaven. I wonder what Anacy's up to. I almost forgot one thing Anacy said. Use a simple coffin and don't nail the lid down, he concluded. Cornell and Tikuma nodded. They wondered what was wrong with Anacy. The next day, Anacy fell ill. He grew worse with each passing day. Finally, at the end of the week, he died. The whole village came, and Nancy had a befitting burial, a beautiful funeral. All his wishes were fulfilled. After the burial, Cornell and Tikuma thought it was time to harvest the farm and enjoy the fruits of their labor. Surprisingly, each morning when they arrived on the farm, they noticed that someone had stolen some of their crops. This went on for some time until they could no longer bear it. Cornell wondered, Tikuma, what can we do to stop the thief? Tikuma thought hard and offered a solution. Let us make a gum statue and place it at the center of the farm to frighten and possibly catch the thief. It's a good idea, said Cornell. The next morning, the gum statue was placed right at the center of the farm. And Nancy woke up at midnight to continue what he had been doing in the past weeks, which was stealing as much food as he could eat. And Nancy never did. He would make fire and cook and eat before morning. He always ate to his satisfaction before smoking his pipe under the moonlight. That night, as soon as Nancy woke up, he saw someone standing at the distance. He thought that since the farm belonged to him and his family, he could challenge anyone who came there at night. Who are you? He shouted and went a bit closer to frighten the intruder. What are you doing? He yelled again, but there was no answer. He went closer still and screamed, if you do not answer me, I will beat you severely. Again, there was no answer. He then slapped the gum statue with all his strength on the left cheek. His right hand stuck to the statue. So he threatened, if you do not let go my hand, I will slap you again. He slapped the statue on the other cheek and his left hand also got stuck. He then used his head and stomach. Finally, he kicked with his legs and found that he was glued from head to toe to the statue. Realizing he was trapped, Nancy began to beg the gum statue, let me go and I'll give you everything on the farm. Nancy pleaded till daybreak, and yet the gum statue would not let him loose. He was covered in sweat. The sun began to rise and Cornell and Tikuma arrived on the farm. From a distance, they saw someone stuck to the gum statue. They ran back to the village to call all the villagers. When they returned, they were surprised to find Nancy, whom everyone believed was dead, stuck to the gum statue. The villagers jeered at him. As soon as he was freed, Nancy ran as fast as his tiny 8 little legs could carry him and hid in the ceiling of a room. And from that day till today, Nancy spiders can be found in the ceilings of rooms. The end. Jack Mandora, me no choose none. All right, that's it. No, that is how we end the stories in Jamaica. I'm sure you're like, what was that? But that is how we end the traditional Anacy stories, or any stories. We say Jack Mandora, me no choose none, which means I give you the story as I got it, as it has been passed down from generation to generation. The end. Thank you.
Thank you, Aunty Sophie. So, ladies, how do you feel? Is it the first time you've heard of a Anacy story?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Wow. And that's not surprising at all, because one of the reasons for this show is that we continue our strong Caribbean culture and heritage. And that's why we're sharing it with you and the rest of the kids, because so many of us live abroad and our children are here. So we don't want to lose that heritage. So we always appreciate Aunty Sophie sharing these stories with you, because now you're probably going to be curious and go ask your parents about Anacy stories, or research it, because we have Google. Yes. We want to
stories.
Yes, we want to thank our viewers that are tuned in and are sharing this episode. Remember, click share so that you can share this very important episode. So Merlene Maudry said, thank you for this focus on positive contribution and tremendous potential of our young people. Importantly, you are keeping them in touch with their Caribbean roots. Importantly, you are keeping them in touch with their Caribbean. And she put that all in caps. So thank you so much. A lot of people saying thank you. And Dr. Francis says, well said. Merle, this is most important. We must not lose our oral tradition. Absolutely. So you're part of history, that we have created the Caribbean Edge Kids and sharing this with you, our Caribbean generation as well. So make sure you check it out. So how was your time on Story Time? I know we're not done, because I know Somiya has another treat for us today. How was your time today on the show?
I enjoyed it. I'm really glad I'm on this. Thank you. It was very enjoyable.
Good. And we enjoyed having you both. Like Aunty Sophie said, you both picked the perfect books for you both to read. And your artwork for you starting out is, I mean, amazing, beyond the imagination that you just started painting. And you're doing something you love, and that you're capturing in your mind and putting it on paper. And Somiya, your artwork, like Aunty Sophie said, deserves an interview in itself to see what goes on in your mind that you're putting on paper. Both, I mean, I can't wait to see what you do in the future with that. So anything anyone wants to say before we go to Somiya's special treats?
No.
Right, we're good. Aunty Sophie, all good. That was a brilliant story. Love it as usual.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. I'm just floored with these ladies, and I don't feel too timid or shy when I'm getting all excited about you, because at 15 years old, you don't have time for old people like us. We thank you for spending time with us. We love you. We love you, and we encourage you. And I know what you're doing is encouraging others. Little kids are watching right now. They're thinking, someday I'll be able to come on to a program like this, read the story, or share my talent that the good Lord has blessed you with. So we want you to not hide it. Don't bottle it up. Keep sharing, because you're touching lives. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. So Somiya, as you get ready, go ahead and get ready. And it will just be a couple seconds delay, as Somiya has a special treat for us all today.
Yes, Miss Somiya's one parent is from Trinidad and one is from Jamaica. So what are we seeing there, Auntie Dawn? Are those steel drums?
Those are steel pans.
Okay, so
Sounds of the Caribbean.
Savannah Grass by Kiss.
us. Yes, thank you for that. And how long have you been playing the steel drums?
I've been playing for 4 years.
Good. What a beautiful young lady you are, and we appreciate that special treat. And thank you, Aryana. You're both super special, and we will certainly follow you. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Caribbean Edge Kids. You young ladies are amazing and setting examples for other young girls. So thank you for joining us today. Have a beautiful week. One love.
One love, walk good.
One good.
You.